हमारी इस मीटिंग को आगे बढ़ाएंगे, ये हमारा पूरा विश्वास है.
Уважаемый господин президент, весь мир страдал от пандемии COVID, и были также разные другие кризисы, поэтому мы надеемся, что мир вновь на пути прогресса, развития, и наша встреча будет вселить надежду в этот вопрос. Уважаемый господин президент, сегодня весь день мы будем разговаривать по разным темам. Пускай наша встреча придаст новый импульс нашему экономическому сотрудничеству. Мы возлагаем большие надежды на нашу сегодняшнюю встречу, и мы ожидаем хороших результатов по итогам нашей встречи.
My friend, मैं फिर से एक बार आपका और आपके डेलीगेशन हृदय से बहुत-बहुत स्वागत करता हूँ.
Дорогой друг, еще раз хотел бы поприветствовать вас и вашу делегацию в Индии.
Спасибо.
Спасибо большое.
Thank you very much.
Уважаемый господин премьер-министр, дорогие друзья, прежде всего спасибо большое за приглашение.
Excellency, Prime Minister, dear friends, first of all, thank you very much for inviting me.
И за вчерашний очень добрый вечер.
And for yesterday's evening too, it was very good.
Дружеский, в то же время с такой содержательной, очень полезной беседой.
We had a friendly and at the same time a very substantial talk.
У нас была возможность, и дали мне такую возможность подробно рассказать о том, что происходит на как раз украинском направлении.
I could share a great deal of details about the events taking place in Ukraine.
И что нами предпринимается совместно с некоторыми другими партнерами, в том числе с Соединенными Штатами, по вопросу возможного мирного урегулирования этого кризиса.
And the actions we are taking together with some partners, including the United States, on a possible peaceful settlement.
Спасибо вам за это внимание и спасибо за ваши усилия, направленные на разрешение этой ситуации.
Thank you for the attention and for your efforts aimed at finding a solution to this situation.
Что касается наших отношений, то они действительно носят очень глубокий исторический характер, как бы мы его не характеризовали, какими бы эпитетами его не украшали. Важно другое, важно содержание. Содержание очень глубокое.
Our relations are deeply rooted into history, but it is not the words that matter, it is the substance of the matter which is very profound.
Мы этим очень дорожим, и мы видим, что вы, уважаемый господин премьер-министр, уделяете этому тоже очень большое личное внимание.
We really appreciate that, and the fact that you, Excellency Prime Minister, pay special personal attention to that.
За прошедшие годы нами проделана очень большая работа в развитии наших отношений.
Over the past years, we have done a great deal of work to develop our relationship.
И по мере развития наших стран, по мере развития экономик наших государств, возможности нашего сотрудничества расширяются.
As our countries and our economies move forward, we have more opportunities for cooperation.
У нас появляются новые направления.
We open additional areas for cooperation,
связанные с высокими технологиями,
including those related to high tech,
связанные с развитием и совместной работы в области авиации, космоса, высоких технологий в широком смысле слова, искусственного интеллекта.
As well as the cooperation of aircraft, space exploration, high tech and artificial intelligence.
У нас очень доверительные отношения в сфере военно-технического взаимодействия.
We have very close and trusting cooperation in the military and technical area.
Мы намерены двигаться по всем этим направлениям.
And we are planning to move forward in all of these areas.
Это только лишний раз подчеркивает уровень, характер и доверительность наших связей.
This once again underscores the level and the trust of our relationship.
Наши команды очень хорошо поработали в преддверии этого визита.
Our teams have done a great work before this visit.
Подготовлен целый ряд документов солидных.
They have prepared a great number of documents for us.
У нас есть возможность на чем-то остановиться, что-то обсудить дополнительно.
We have an opportunity to talk in more detail about some of them.
И уверен, что мы сегодняшний рабочий день завершим с хорошим результатом.
I am sure that we will have a very fruitful working day.
Спасибо.
Thank you very much.
For the first time, now we know what actually transpired yesterday in that 3-hour, 40-minute meeting. And I'm going to get all our experts Ms. Kukareva from Russia and Mr. Sajjanhar from New Delhi into this conversation. President Putin, Mr. Sajjanhar, making some important revelations, saying that they actually had gone into the nitty-gritties of the situation in Ukraine and, of course, the peace efforts. How do you see this very frank sort of revelation coming from President Putin, making clear that there were no elephants in the room that were not addressed, so to speak?
No, absolutely. I think what stands out in my view from both these very short interventions that have been made by the two leaders, that the Russia-Ukraine conflict came straight center as far as their pronouncements are concerned. When Prime Minister Modi was speaking, his first, he didn't speak about the bilateral relations. His first element was Ukraine. And similarly, it was for Mr. Putin. I think that is understandable because they know that the whole world is watching. And they know that the world will be seeing. Because, bilaterally, of course, these two countries can continue to do what they want to do. But what is important is whether there is going to be some push as far as this is concerned. So I think as far as Prime Minister Modi, he made his point of view very clear.
But a very nuanced point of view by the Prime Minister. Did not take any sort of a position that would have given America any bragging rights or suggest that America had any pressure. Very, very non-judgmental statement saying that it's wrong, and he obviously addressed this to the West and the Western capitals. Wrong to say that India doesn't take sides. It does. We're on the side of peace.
That's right. India is not neutral.
Yes.
I think that's the
the exact word.
Yeah, that's the point that he made. We are not neutral. And we support all efforts as far as peace is concerned. Globally, yes. And this is what President Putin also said. Of course, he did bring out that the Americans have been involved. He did point out to the American effort, and he said that we are also willing to get towards peace. And then both the sides mentioned about bilateral ties also. But I think the cherry on the pudding, if I can say, is what everyone was really looking for was Ukraine. That means both of them did discuss Ukraine when they met for 3 hours plus last evening. So that was an important element of their discussions.
Okay.
And of course, along with that, the bilateral issues.
Let me get the other side. Tatiana Kukareva, what do you make of this initial flurry of opening remarks focused on Ukraine but non-judgmental?
Right, Rahul. Well, actually not surprising, that both leaders spoke about Ukraine, and it just highlights how frank the conversation is between them. Vladimir Putin just pointing out that it was a very frank discussion. It was an in-depth discussion that also all of the details of the ongoing negotiations with the American side, which we keep forgetting, on the with on all of the big announcements and big tweets coming in from President Trump, we keep forgetting that this conversation is ongoing. There is a process that has been started. Nobody, at least nobody in Moscow, I believe, expected it to be fast. Nobody expected it to happen overnight. That's a huge crisis that we're dealing with. And that Prime Minister Modi has gotten all of the details from President Putin, but also, just checking in all of the boxes, the new areas of cooperation. We were all listening closely, obviously, that from high-tech aviation, so that means that there's going to be extensive discussions on those jets, but also AI, something that we hadn't discussed, I believe, on these panels, and that's something that India has a lot to offer, and Russia as well. So that's very interesting in terms of future cooperation between the two countries.
Yes, so commitment, you're saying, to broad basing this relationship coming through there. Very interestingly, and this is something that President Putin referred to, he thanked Prime Minister Modi for the efforts that Prime Minister Modi is making, perhaps behind the scenes, we don't know, in trying to narrow the divergence over Ukraine, Doctor. Significant.
Yeah, well, first of all, I think it was very well-crafted disclosure after the meeting. I think we pressed all the right buttons, including the button that would send Trump into convulsions looking at these images. But may I, with my layman knowledge, disagree a little when we say, or when Prime Minister Modi says that we've not been neutral. No, we have been neutral, because in this war you are either with Russia or you are against it. I have always been against Russia invading Ukraine for the simple reason that it is a country's inalienable right to forge methods or mechanisms to defend itself. Now, Russia has had 3 erstwhile Soviet Union states that are part of NATO alliance. You have Poland, eastern countries part of NATO alliance. Russia cannot attack them. The only reason Russia attacked Ukraine was it was not part of NATO. So it could have been part of NATO earlier. Now, obviously, if I am not neutral, I would be against Russia invading a foreign country when that foreign country, like other neighboring countries of Soviet Union, of Russia, have taken that same step. So India has been neutral. But as I said, who is not neutral and who is not hypocritical? You look at the Western Europe, who's like, waxing eloquent about siding with Ukraine against Russia. They've been buying more Russian energy and oil than we have been. They've even saved themselves, exempted themselves from the secondary sanctions that are unfortunately going to hurt us, because now when Russian oil majors are put under sanctions, that hurts us.
Tatiana Kukureva, a quick one on what Dr. Ranganathan said, and I want to bring in Major Jolly.
Well, Rahul, I'll have to remind the doctor that the relationships with Ukraine has been a very special issue, and I wouldn't possibly compare it to the other neighboring countries that are part of NATO, for a very simple reason, and this is such a complex issue, obviously more complex for us because we have been living side by side with this country that has chosen to, and let's not forget, back in 2014, when all of this ugliness was unfolding, when American officials just suddenly appeared out there on Maidan, giving out cookies like Victoria Nuland and let's not forget Hunter Biden to begin with. That's such a complex issue. It was never about just our neighbors being there and suddenly there is an attack. No, it's been building up for quite a while, and there was very obvious influence.
It's a sovereignty issue, deeply linked to Russian sovereignty also, I suppose, and therefore you had a cat and mouse game. In fact, Trump has laid the blame squarely on Biden's door and the West. But yes, very quickly.
No, I agree. It's much more nuanced, as the previous panelist rightly said. But let me give you an analogy. We have a border dispute, a territory dispute with Pakistan. Now, tomorrow Pakistan enters into an alliance, a NATO-like alliance, which it has with Saudi Arabia or something. Would we invade Pakistan?
But it has in the past tried to, of course, it had, of course, an alliance during the Cold War era, CENTO and so forth, and CETO. But the point was not that. The point here is that Russia thought that its own security interests were being impinged through a feint, and that was something that they objected to. Now, look, we can always sort of stand in moral judgment of someone's commitment to finally pulling the trigger. But a lot could be then said about the way India sort of reacted after Operation Sindoor. Let's just park that aside, because I think what India is trying to say is that, look, it's not our war. That is what we had originally said. It's not our war to fight or to lose. It has really been foisted upon the world. Now, you can pick your sides and you can say that it was because of Ukraine or it was because of Russia. But what are we on the side of? We're on the side of peace. We'd like both Russia and Ukraine and the West, etc., to narrow the differences and perhaps evolve some sort of an everlasting peace. I think that's what the larger message is. I just want to very quickly, I don't want to cut you off. I just very quickly want to bring in Ross Feingold from the American perspective on this. I think if you were to look at this conversation, Mr. Feingold, and these exchanges, substantive agreement there that peace is something worthy of aspiring to. I think both sides have recognized that. That should give heart to anyone who's invested in peace in Europe.
Yeah, that's certainly the case, but clearly there's different views on how to achieve that. The Europeans would prefer that Ukraine recovers its lost territory. An increasing number of people in the United States and obviously President Trump feel that's unrealistic and it will only prolong the war. And that's why President Trump's peace plan basically would require Ukraine to acknowledge that some of its territory is occupied by Russia. But bringing this back to President Trump, we know his focus is on commerce and trade. And he's shown this willingness throughout his term in office this year, since he came back into the presidency, to be involved in conflict resolution. And I think that surprised a lot of people around the world. He does get criticism for that, but I think he also deserves some credit for that. So although a lot of the conversation about Putin's visit to India is about differences that it shows between India and the United States, again, I think President Trump really does want to restore an extremely close and positive relationship with India, and whatever remarks he might make today on his social media account, I don't think that changes the trajectory, which is that President Trump does seek a close relationship with India.
Right. I mean, look, I think those are non sequiturs there. And I agree with you. I want to bring back Tatiana Kukureva as well as Major Jolly. Major Jolly, first to you, because you haven't had an opportunity to express your point of view. Where do you come in after you heard the opening remarks?
Hi, thanks, Rahul. So, while I think the world as well as India wants to bring better peace, but these are very critical moments for India as a country as we place ourselves as one of the stakeholders in multipolar world. While we should always propagate peace, but it is time to, there's no harm in taking stand actually. You have a friend who's been with you for decades, your entire defense equipment comes, energy is coming from there. The kind of leverage that Russia gives to India in terms of transfer of tech, support, I mean, it's unmatched to anybody else in the world. So why not say, yes, while we want peace, but we do stand this side. And just to, a little quote on what Dr. Anand was saying about if Pakistan was a much weaker state and India was much bigger, and they carried out terrorist attack, we would have conquered them long back ago. It is just that the balance of power is not such that we can easily go and just take away the territory. So yes, I mean Russia-Ukraine is a very complicated state, and as Tatiana said, it's been going on for decades now.
Yeah.
So for us to try and offer a solution, it will be I don't know, reaching out way ahead of what our understanding is.
Yeah.
But I would still say that in favor of leveraging, in favor of being supporting of our decades-long friends, we should say that we stand with Russia.
Well, at least optically, Doctor. Yeah. No, go ahead.
As I said, I mean, I don't mind India's position at all. I mean, in fact, you could say in one sense it's walking on eggshells, but it's being supportive of its friend Russia. At the same time, it doesn't want to antagonize the rest of the West because we do a lot of trade with them.
Yes.
The fact of the matter is Ukraine did not attack Russia. As the Major said, if Pakistan were to attack us, then we would certainly conquer them. That analogy doesn't hold. But at the same time, let me also say this. It is the prerogative of any country to find ways and mechanisms to defend itself. Now, of course, Ukraine may feel threatened with a much larger neighbor, as many other countries did. All it's done is it's taken its inalienable right to defend itself. And Russia also, as I said, I mean, I accept there's a nuanced position. I mean, there is territory of Ukraine that Russia thinks it is ours, just like, Pakistani territory that actually is ours. But the fact of the matter is we are not neutral out here. We could have gone one step further and explained the pros and cons of this battle. For example, we could have said, look, I think this part of what Russia has done is fine. This part of what Ukraine has done is fine. For simply saying that we want peace is, I'm afraid, neither here nor there, but then I'm not a diplomat.
Maybe that's why Prime Minister gave Mr. Putin the Bhagavad Gita. Maybe there's that to it too. But yes. Just a minute, I'll just take a very short break. I want to come back because I want to pick up from where we left off with Mr. Sajjanhar and Ms. Kukureva on whether there is also, of course, a little bit of pressure on Moscow or a realization that it also needs to diversify its own interests. So we'll come back to that question just after this short break. Stay with us, viewers.
It's a summit that will redefine geopolitics.
Two leaders, one visit, every moment counts. Every deal, every word, every step decoded.
Your front row seat to a headline-making trip from Moscow
to New Delhi. We've got it covered.
Diplomatic power unfolds this week. Putin-Modi power play.
Exclusive, exhaustive, extensive.
This is News 18 Network. India's largest news network.
But I also want to go across to Akanksha Swaroop, who's there at the Bharat Mandapam. Later this afternoon, both the President and the Prime Minister will be convening the India-Russia CEOs Roundtable, the Business Forum. And as I outlined a moment ago, one of the things that they want to expand is on trade and cooperation, on expanding the breadth of the trade relationship. Right now, a lot of it is Russian gas and oil, and the trade deficit, like I outlined a moment ago, is the second highest that India has with any country after China. How do they plan to go about it?
Right. So very interestingly, we are at the Bharat Mandapam where the CEO roundtable will be happening. And yesterday was the India-Russia Business Forum. Interestingly, Zaka, the Commerce Minister, Mr. Piyush Goyal, was very quick in pointing out that the trade has been flourishing between India and Russia. Nonetheless, it remains skewed and that trade basket has to be diversified. So even though India happens to be one of the largest buyers of Russian defense, also was one of the largest buyers of Russian oil, and that of course has been going down. So it is now going to shift focus over to trade. What is that going to encompass? You're looking at pharmaceuticals, you're looking at fertilizers, agricultural products. Both the sides are looking towards working down, say, the tariff barriers. The Commerce Minister also highlighted that compliance, tariff, and there was a lot of red tapeism involved, which the Modi government has sort of worked towards to reduce, and that will also give a headway in sort of strengthening and deepening this partnership. All of the Russian delegation currently is comprising of, say, corporate honchos from these sectors, which I just enlisted, many of them also belonging to the energy sector, many of them belonging to big machinery sectors as well. The other aspect that we are looking towards is increasing labor mobility. Remember, Russia has lost out close to 1 million Russians on the front line alone, and there is a massive labor shortage. India is looking towards replenishing that shortage by providing Indian labor. At the same time, nuclear cooperation is going to be another major area of sort of concern and cooperation. But it would be interesting to see how we take this entire bilateral trade partnership forward. We've been talking to, say, FICCI also, members of FICCI. They've all been talking about how this particular forum is only going to help us take this forward.
Okay, we'll be back in touch with our reporters through the course of the morning. It's going to be a busy and heavy morning for our reporters as well. So I hope you've got your fuel for the day planned on, and you will get an announcement of this later in the afternoon. Is on small modular reactors. Russia's state-run nuclear corporation, Rosatom, has now announced that it has delivered the first consignment of nuclear fuel for the initial loading of Unit 3 at the Kudankulam nuclear power plant in Tamil Nadu. The fuel delivery marks a key milestone in the ongoing construction and commissioning of the plant's next reactor unit. There are 6 units that the Russian side was supposed to build. 2 of them are operational now. This is the nuclear fuel that's been now confirmed. For the 3rd unit, there are now units 4, 5 and 6 that need to be commissioned as well. So this is something that you will hear about when those intergovernmental agreements are signed later this afternoon. Here in our studios, Lieutenant General D.P. Pandey, security analyst, is there. We have Abhijit Iyer Mitra, senior fellow from the Institute for Peace and Conflict Studies, and Anand Raghunathan, professor and familiar face here on CNN News 18. Welcome, gentlemen. General Pandey, what is at stake, as you see it, as President Putin and Prime Minister Modi begin the 23rd Annual India-Russia Summit at a time when there seems to be this geopolitical rebalancing going on?
Yeah, I think firstly, a lot of people are putting focus on defense deal and trade facet, how to overcome, bridge the gap of trade gap and all, but I look at it in this whole shifting of geopolitics in not only in the region, but more importantly in the world stage. I think a multipolarity is now getting established by this visit of the 10th visit of Putin in since the time he has been in the power. I think it's very, very important and significant. And I think for both, not only for Putin, a lot of people are saying it's important for Putin to showcase to his own population, his own people and to the world that he is not isolated in this whole context, which is war which is happening with Ukraine, while Europeans and the Americans may be getting after him by sanctioning and all. But yet he has got places to visit. He's already been visiting in last couple of months. He's been out of his country and visited a number of states, and therefore I think it's very important for him domestically, but I think it's also very important for us. While we may not talk of it more often, that there is a leverage. We are an emerging power. If you look at this articles coming out by diplomats against the visit of Putin in our country and the discussion which is happening, why is he visiting our country, puts India back into the focus. So while number of people may feel that it is not so good, but I look at it that it's very important that India's relevance is being recognized in the world. And then my view is that this is a very great opportunity for Prime Minister Modi to come out slightly more higher when he may talk and make a mention about Ukraine-Russia war, away from the symbolism of sanctions and tariff and stuff like that, which has been tried to be imposed by the West on the rest of the world, actually, whosoever is taking energy correct from Russia. I think the moment he makes a statement on Ukraine-Russia war, because today we are the only country who can talk to both Ukrainians and Russians. And I think that is very important. And you listen to the statement.
India's largest airline, Indigo, is in a tailspin, viewers. Big disruptions by Indigo. Absolute apathy with regards to passenger and consumer interest. Indigo has cancelled all Delhi departures till midnight. Can you believe it? Yesterday, 550 flights of Indigo were cancelled, inconveniencing thousands and thousands of travellers. Today, also in Chennai, flights grounded till 6 p.m. And over the last 48 hours, more than 1,300 flights have been scrapped. In 48 hours, over 600 viewers. Turmoil has erased nearly 16,000 crores in market value, with the Indigo stock sliding 6%. And they only have themselves to blame. They were supposed to conform to new directives from the government that had been relaxed not once but twice for them. But they failed to do so. And since November, viewers, they've got into rostering problems because the new guidelines mandated more rest time for pilots, which meant that India's largest airline, if it was conscious of its commitment towards serving the customer, would have taken on board more pilots, but it did not do so, keeping profits and margins in mind. It refused to do so, so it has landed in this mess when it has hit a wall. And frankly, viewers, the Civil Aviation Ministry, the government at the center, has been blithely complicit. One has to say this because it hasn't stepped in at the right times. It gave too much rein to Indigo without accountability. Let's listen in to the woes of passengers who are the hardest hit today on the ground. Here are some ground reports of the chaos, and you can see it on your screens, viewers, from different airports.
As the crisis over Indigo flights being cancelled persists, in today's day there are more than 600 flights across the entire country which seem to be cancelled, of which 104 are from Mumbai. These are to and fro flights from Mumbai. Right here outside the T1 airport at Mumbai, you see long queues outside the Indigo ticketing center. This is because we see that there are several passengers, thousands of them, who've been stranded at the airport. In fact, as a part of the information that comes in, it has also been informed that the Indigo has informed that it would curtail flights from December 8 onwards to minimize flight disruption and delays, and cancellations would continue. Of course, a statement has been issued for passengers stating that they have to they should bear with some inconvenience, particularly when it comes to when it comes to this very crisis that Indigo is facing, because the disruption is expected to continue for the next couple of days. Amidst all of this, of course, DGCA has issued instruction that when it comes to the flight tickets for other aircrafts, the tickets should not be shot up. But the passengers we spoke to here have spoken about the fact that they are experiencing and have to purchase air tickets worth rupees 1 lakh to 34,000. 34,000 is the base, going up onwards up to 1 lakh rupees in a domestic flight as well. In fact, all of this comes in as Indigo is flying more than 2,200 flights across the entire country. And because of the changes in the roster system, changes over the schedule of the cabin crew as well as the pilots of the weekend and in all the roster system, is where several of this several staff is not available for Indigo, and which is where this very issue is being faced by Indigo, and this is leading to cascade effect on other airlines as well, because several other airlines are also getting cancelled on the lines, particularly on the lines because these Indigo aircrafts are parked in the parking bay. Tell us, you were travelling by Indigo. What was your flight number, and how long it's been delayed?
5217. It's been indefinitely delayed, and they've refunded the tickets, but no mail, no messages, nothing like that.
Okay.
So yeah.
So for how long have you been waiting here?
I've been waiting here for 2 hours, 3 hours, around 3 hours, yeah.
And where were you flying to?
Bangalore.
How do you see? How will you plan to travel now after this?
I think the train is the best idea because no flight in this country is dependable. So I think train is the way to go ahead.
Okay. And are there more people traveling with you who are facing these issues?
My friends, yeah. Yeah, more people, yeah.
Okay. And most of you all are facing this issue?
Yeah, many of us, like you can see.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you all get any communication about the delay or anything?
Nothing like that. No mail, no messages, nothing. I think that's what pissed people off.
Okay.
You can just send a mail, that's all.
So बताइए क्या दिक्कत आ रही है आपको?
मैडम मैंने टिकट बुक किया था, कल मेरे जाने का था, वो टिकट कैंसिल नहीं जा रही, फ्लाइट कैंसिल हो गया, फिर मैंने वाया टिकट दिया, वाया टिकट भी मैं जब आज उसको जाने के लिए आया तो बोलता वो भी कैंसिल हो गया.
Well, big breaking news coming in. Finally, the airline regulator is waking up. DGCA is conducting field inspections on Indigo at major airports. Strict action is what the DGCA is having us believe is being taken. This means not only the airline's flight operations are under DGCA's tight watch, but passenger handling arrangements are also being watched by the DGCA. But watching won't do, viewers. Action needs to be taken. Special officers from the DGCA have been deployed to Indigo's operational control centers for this continuous oversight, but it's too late. Oversight is what is not required. Efficiency and restoration of services and perhaps even compensation is the need of the hour. Hopefully the DGCA will slap some penalties on Indigo, because this is a crisis of its own making, viewers. Complete disregard for your interest, my interest, the interest of the passenger and the consumer, taken for granted. Anvit there with more details. Anvit, what can you tell us? What is this DGCA inspection really going to achieve when flights are cancelled?
See, Rahul, DGCA has taken some strict actions, and we are being told that DGCA is conducting now field inspections at major airports where Indigo's operations
are. So what are these? What are these strict? If you don't mind my asking, what are these strict actions that DGCA has taken? Can you elucidate?
See, dedicated officers have been deployed in the operational centers of Indigo, and they are continuously monitoring as to how Indigo operates, not only flight operations, but also how their passenger handling and communication systems work. They have been told to communicate the cancellations and delays much before time. Only after this direction, the airline had also come out with a list, and now they are updating list on social media as to which airlines and which flights exactly are delayed or are cancelled. Previously, there was a lot of chaos among passengers. There was no communication from the airline. DGCA has stepped in to say also that all of Indigo's real-time operations are now under its watch, and they have also said that this means that not only airlines flight operations, but also DGCA is keeping a tight watch on the passenger handling arrangements also. Other than this, we know that yesterday there was also a detailed ministry representation.
Let me just quickly bring in Yesha on this point. Yesha Kotak, live from Mumbai. What about stranded passengers? How are they being looked after by Indigo? Are they just getting cups of coffee and being told to wait around, or is there something more substantive coming from the airline?
Rahul, when I'll show you the visuals right here from outside the Mumbai airport's T1. This is a domestic terminal of the Mumbai airport. And like you see, as of now, when we spoke to several passengers here, some of them have been stranded inside. Of course, like you've said that there's no provision that's being made really for the passengers right here. Right outside this Indigo's counter is where you see huge queue. Several of the passengers who we spoke to said that there was absolutely no communication that was being passed on to them. Apart from that, also some passengers who were already inside, the baggage was taken, but later they were informed that the flights are cancelled. So, in fact, there's a lot of chaos right here at this very airport. And
so you're basically saying, Yesha, that there has been actually no facilitation for the passenger, and that's really the problem, isn't it, viewers? It's not just the fact that you've been taken for granted, but you've been taken for granted twice over, because you have complete control over the sector. 70% you own the skies, basically. Where will the passenger go? That's fundamentally what it is. And I want to go straight across to Neetu, who sent us this ground report from outside, I think, Kochi Airport, if I'm not mistaken, or Trivandrum. Let's go straight across to her.
We are outside the Thiruvananthapuram airport here. We can see that several passengers are here who are stuck and stranded here because the Indigo flights have been cancelled, or there has been several delays. At least 2 flights of arrivals and 2 of departure has been cancelled. This family has to go to Raipur, but their flights have been cancelled, and they are saying that there is no alternate arrangements also so far. क्या हुआ था, कब था आपका फ्लाइट?
अभी 1 बजे का था हमारा फ्लाइट, वो कैंसिल हो गया, उसका कोई मैसेज भी नहीं आया हमको। और अभी वो बोल रहे हैं कि सर अभी जस्ट हुआ है कैंसिल, मैसेज भेजने का भी हमारे पास टाइम नहीं है। और फिर बेंगलोर वाली फ़्लाइट भी कैंसिल हो गई, कल के लिए कुछ अल्टरनेट भी नहीं बता रहे हैं।
आप यहाँ पर स्टक है क्या? आप कोई ट्रिप के लिए आया था या?
ट्रिप के लिए आए थे, हमारा आज आखिरी डेट है ट्रिप का, और हमको आज रायपुर पहुँचना है, परसों से ऑफिस है हमारा।
Before 1 hour we got a cancellation mail that our flight got cancelled and we have to go to again back to Hyderabad. And when we went to the counter and asked them, they were not giving any response only. I did not face this kind of problem with other airlines, for example Air India, Air Vistara.
Actually, Sabrimala devotees who had come in from Hyderabad to have the darshan at Sabrimala temple, and then a family from Raipur who came for vacation to Kerala, they had to go back tomorrow and get back to school. The child has to get back to school and they have to go back to office, but they are stuck here with no idea as to what to do. How are they going to get back to their home? So this is the situation that we are witnessing in Thiruvananthapuram.
Must be seeing the mess of Indigo. What would you want to say about that? Is it a case of monopoly?
No, I think it's, you can't talk about monopoly because anybody, so you can start an airline tomorrow. Anyone can start an airline if they have the money. The problem is that they have been given time. The DGCA didn't suddenly spring this upon them overnight. They gave, I believe, 2 years warning to the airlines that this is going to be the new system that will be followed. Now, when you have 2 years' time to prepare and you don't prepare, whose fault is it?
Were you planning to go to Thiruvananthapuram on Air India?
I am going to Thiruvananthapuram on Air India.
3 दिनों से लगातार ये समस्या चल रही है। 500 से ज्यादा फ्लाइट्स कैंसिल हुई हैं या बहुत देर तक डिले हुई। हवाई यात्रा क्यों करता है कोई आम नागरिक? कम समय में पहुंचना चाहता है, अगर डिले हो गया तो उसका तो मतलब ही नहीं रहा। फिर मीटिंग फिक्स होती है उसकी डेस्टिनेशन, कुछ कार्य करना होता है, वो भी सफर करता है। तो मैंने आज ये मुद्दा उठाया, सदन में ये भी कहा कि सैटरडे संडे चूंकि नहीं होती है बैठकें सदन की, इसलिए ज्यादातर सांसद क्षेत्रों में जाते हैं, विकास की बातें करते हैं, काम करते हैं। शादी का सीजन चल रहा है, लोग शादियों में जाना चाहते हैं, पर इंडिगो की जिस तरीके से फ्लाइट निरस्त हो रही है उससे उनको सीधा प्रभाव पड़ रहा है। हाँ, पर एक चीज जरूर मैं कह दूं, ये गलत नीति मोदी सरकार की है जो मोनोपोली हर जगह ला रही है।
It is a matter of serious concern. Passengers are affected. Hundreds of flights have gotten cancelled. Even yesterday, the Minister of Civil Aviation has held detailed meetings with the Indigo leadership. we are very confident that there will be a resolution to this impasse. My request, not only as a user of airline services, but as a common citizen, is for the authorities as well as the senior leadership of Indigo to immediately address the concerns of the passengers and make sure that the passengers are taken care of and their interests does not suffer.
Thanks a lot for staying with us. I'm Shivani Gupta. We begin with a quick check of the headlines, and of course we'll get you more on what's happening on ground and what is the opinion around the country over what has transpired with the Indigo fiasco. But first up, here are the headlines. After Bonhomme, Modi-Putin get down to business. Both leaders hold talks on trade, defense and energy. Prime Minister Modi discusses Ukraine with Putin, emphasizes India's stand for peace. Putin says working on a peaceful statement. India and Russia strengthen diplomatic ties, both nations to sign 10 intergovernmental agreements and 15 MOUs. Later today, Prime Minister Modi and President Putin to convene the Indo-Russia CEO roundtable, top business leaders to explore trade, investment and strategic economic collaboration. Indigo cancels multiple flights nationwide while Delhi grounded till midnight. Chennai is no flying zone now for Indigo till 6 p.m. Aviation Ministry blames Indigo for the mess, criticizes airlines' handling of the situation. Aviation Minister statement likely today in Parliament. Indigo meltdown triggers a political fight. Opposition says fiasco highlights the cost of government's monopoly model. And DMK government moves Supreme Court against High Court order on Deepam Rao. BJP slams an anti-Hindu mindset. India's largest airline is in a severe disruption state. Indigo has cancelled all Delhi departures till midnight, grounded all Chennai flights till 6 p.m. this evening, and scrapped more than 1,300 flights now in 48 hours, over 600 alone today. The turmoil has erased nearly 16,000 crore in market value for the company, with the Indigo stock sliding 6%. Scenes from various airports across the country show passengers stranded for hours. Civil Aviation Minister Ram Mohan Naidu has pulled up the airline, warning it that stabilize operations immediately and keep fares in check. Indigo has apologized, remember, already, admitting that planning gaps in implementing the new FDTL rules have been one of the factors, and says that normal operations will only be fully restored by February 10. The issue has triggered political heat in Parliament as frustration continues to mount at airports nationwide. Rahul Gandhi has slammed the centre, saying the disruption is the result of centre's monopoly in the aviation sector. Let's go across to my colleague Neetu Regukumar, who's joining us live from the Trivandrum airport. Neetu, what is the status of Indigo flights there?
See, at least 4 flights have been cancelled, 2 arrivals and 2 departures. So passengers have been stranded, and this is the 3rd day they are feeling the heat. Even the other flights are being delayed for hours. Earlier when we spoke to some of the passengers, they have been saying this is also a season when Sabrimala pilgrimage happens. So from the southern parts of the country, especially from Hyderabad and Tamil Nadu, there are a lot of pilgrims coming into the state via this route. And also we saw a family from Raipur who was stuck here in Trivandrum because their return flight was cancelled, and even tomorrow they are not getting any assurance. They're being told that the return flights again tomorrow might be cancelled. So people are stranded here, passengers are stranded, and some of the Sabrimala devotees now decided to go back to Cochin via the Cochin route and then take a bus from there, another 22 hours by road. So this is what they are saying, the passengers that we spoke to. At least 4 cancellations and many other flights are delayed at the Trivandrum airport. Similar is the situation in the Cochin airport also.
Stay with me. Yesha, my colleague, is joining us live from the Mumbai airport. Of course, that is one of the more busier airports in the country. Yesha, what's the situation in Mumbai?
Absolutely. In fact, at Mumbai airport, we see there are several passengers who've been waiting for the last couple of days for their bags. Ma'am, tell us, what is the issue that you are facing? What is the problem?
I had a flight. We were going for a wedding from Mumbai Airport, International Airport. They postponed and postponed and postponed. Then they said, we'll give you an evening flight from T1. We said, okay, fine. So we left our bags and we went home. In the evening, we got to know it's cancelled. We came, bags are coming. Finally, we got fed up. We left out. I said, jab dena hoga, they will give us. Waited and waited and waited. Then they sent us a message, come and collect. So we said, thank God. Now we don't have to wait. We are still waiting. Look at the queue there. And they're telling us to stand in the queue to collect bags. We broke the queue. I went ahead and I shouted. Then they're saying, we have called them. And now it's more than 1 hour that they are calling them. So finally we decided to barge in. All of us have got together there and barge in. That's why I'm telling you, come and see that we are fighting with the security people now. Either take us inside or call the Indigo people outside. You can't have us troubling. See the senior citizen. Senior citizens are being troubled. I mean, nowhere in the world this happens that you trouble senior citizens. It's just
Where were you headed to?
Dehradun.
Okay. And when was your flight supposed to?
It was supposed to be on third night, fourth early morning.
Okay.
And today the wedding is done. We are not going for wedding. Nobody is talking of compensation. Take refund. What about compensation? We have spent money coming here. We spend money eating, sleeping at the airport. Coming. Nobody talks of compensation. Even I saw debates on the thing, but they say Indigo must do that, this, that. What about compensation? Shouldn't we be compensated? My return is from Air India. They are not going to give us. Now DGCA is supposed to make sure all the airlines work in tandem and they refund us, or at least keep it open for us to use the return tickets from somewhere else. Where is DGCA? They are supposed to control this situation now.
Right.
My return fare is gone. This one also refund, no compensation.
Right.
They are sending us message, collect the bags. They are not sending us message about collect refund.
Right.
Is that allowed? Is that okay?
Clearly, we have several passengers who've been waiting here, like we heard ma'am saying. There are senior citizens who've been stranded right outside the airport. They've been complaining that there's no way any kind of facilitation is being done for them, and no communication whatsoever about the other flights that they are supposed to be taking. Ma'am, would you want to speak to us? What is the problem that you're facing?
Sorry?
What is the problem that you're facing, ma'am? You were saying your
I have left my baggage last night due to, flight delayed. So they told me we will send it home. I gave them the address and everything. And then finally I'm waiting because my daughter is getting married. She's an adopted daughter or whatever. She's my relative. I'm getting her married. So I said, let me go. And I'm the one, who's organized everything for her. Now she's calling me constantly, come. So when they give me my baggage, I will book another flight. How can I book without my baggage?
Where were you supposed
So
to
myriad
ma'am?
problems that the passengers are facing, all kinds of issues. Even if you know that your flight is cancelled, it still causes a lot of trouble. It's not as simple as just knowing that, okay, your flight is not going to fly anymore. Afrin Hussain is joining us live from Bengaluru Airport, another one of the busier airports in India. Afrin, give us a sense of how many flights have been cancelled there.
Well, let me tell you that the ground situation here is really bad. Yesterday, when CNN News 18 was here at the Kempegowda International Airport in Bengaluru, we saw that there were few passengers who were struggling and stranded here. But today, you can see the lines in front of the enquiry desk here at Indigo. You can see that there are hundreds of people waiting, trying to get to know if their flights are rescheduled, cancelled, what is the situation like, what are they supposed to do next. The lines are just growing longer, and I don't think that there is any resolution to what these passengers' concerns are. I have here with me a few passengers who are stuck here, stranded here. Let me talk to them. They'll give you a sense of what is happening here at the airport, what is going on inside. I have with me a person who's stuck here for so long, and he's a New Zealand citizen. He's seen the situation inside, and he's going to explain to us what it is like here.
So yeah, basically regretfully it's been turning into such a nightmare for thousands of people in India because of one airline called Indigo. And trust me, I've seen some old people literally crying. They cannot speak their feelings. Some people have been stuck here for 3 days, and I did not get any notification that my flight is cancelled. So when I reached here, when I approached the check-in counter, they were surprised that my flight has been really cancelled. And I've met a lady who actually boarded a flight from Nagpur to here. She was supposed to go to Kochi, but her baggage is not with her anymore. She was supposed to attend the wedding. I met one guy who has been here for 3 days. He still does not know when he's going to reach to his destination. So government of India and any other private airlines, I really request you to really step up your game and make sure we don't rely on one, because there are thousands of emotions. Old people are suffering, small kids are crying, people do not know where to go, what to do. And at this time, when I approach the other airlines, they are charging me 50,000 bucks from Bangalore to Ahmedabad. And when I ask Indigo, what can you do about it? Because I need to reach at home. They could not do anything. And the poor lady is sitting there. There are 50 people shouting at her. All she could do is, sir, I'm sorry, but I will initiate a refund. That's the best response she could give us. And it's really a nightmare. Please make sure Indigo needs to step up the game, or other private airlines, they need to step up their game.
Yeah. So
Thank
now
you.
questions are indeed rising as to what happens to those people who want to book other flights, because I think this is where the DGCA can indeed step in. They already have given a directive to other airlines that, fares should be controlled, even to Indigo, but of course most of Indigo's operations are grounded. So other airlines do need to step into this situation and ensure that passengers can find a reasonable fare on their operations if they are to book their flights onwards. I want to go across to Meenakshi Kanagat, who's a passenger. She's at the airport for her flight, which was supposed to be from Mumbai to Jaisalmer. Suhail Seth, columnist, and Anand Ranganathan, author, are also joining us. But Meenakshi ji, I'm coming to you first. What is your situation? You're at the Mumbai airport?
Yes, I'm at the Mumbai airport.
Can you tell me what's happening? Yes, with you?
It's pretty bad here also. There is no direction here. We don't know where we are going. Any flight is not flights are not coming in only, so we are stuck here. My flight was to leave at 8:30 in the morning. It's 3. Now it is scheduled at 3:30, but there is no gate mentioned, so we have no clue.
Ma'am, yours is an Indigo flight or some other airline?
Indigo
flight. Okay. So it hasn't been completely cancelled so far. It has a scheduled departure later in the afternoon.
No information, no intimation, nothing. There is no help desk here. Nobody is there to guide you.
Okay, so you're planning to wait there to figure out what happens. You said something about a 3:30 time now.
So we don't have any other choice, because even if we want to go home, even taking the suitcases from them, it's going to be another ordeal, to just sit here and wait. Nothing else we can do.
So I just want to understand from you, since morning, your flight was in the morning, you've received no communication from the airline till you are here at the airport and figuring out for yourself?
Nothing at all. Nothing. We're just sitting patiently. One thing about Mumbaikars, they are really very, very patient people, and they are testing our patience now, seriously. Nobody's doing any dharna here. I don't see any angry faces here. But still, there is no hope here.
Okay. Meenakshi ji, if you can stay with us, let me also take some opening comments from some of our guests joining us. Devesh Agarwal is an aviation expert also with us. But Suhail Seth, I'm coming to you first. Is it, whose fault is this? Is it the airline fault, or is this somehow government's fault because of quote-unquote monopoly, the charge that is coming against the government right now?
It's actually Donald J. Trump's fault. Blame it on everyone else but the people who are actually responsible. It is obviously Indigo's fault. I mean, how can you even imagine that at a time like this, an airline should behave so bloody irresponsibly and transfer the blame to everyone else but themselves? It is ridiculous. I have sat on the Global Advisory Board of British Airways. This is not the way an airline works. It is an absolute disgrace. I can't even tell you, Shivani, that you shut the bloody airline down, because we'll be again in trouble. Let me tell you what Meenakshi said. Let me give you my personal example. Okay? My daughter, 6 years old, and my mother-in-law were to travel this morning from Goa to Bombay. First, 9 a.m., flight postponed. Second delay, third delay, fourth delay, now cancelled. After, my point is, why do these rascals not be honest with the truth? Why can they not tell people what the actual situation is? People understand. A, B, you tell me, Shivani, The airline claims to have huge profitability. They claim to have very smart people, but obviously these smart people are duffers if they can't manage this. Let me tell you, and Meenakshi, don't talk about this Mumbai patience. It is the worst thing to have. If you are impatient, you will bring people to account. If you are patient, they will walk all over you. In India, kindness is treated as weakness. Now, let me tell you what is going to happen. All flights from Delhi on Indigo have been cancelled today.
Yes, till midnight.
As we speak, Shivani, there are 1,100. So there are 1,100 Indigo flights cancelled. Forget what's happening about my child or anyone else. Medical emergency. I couldn't be bothered if that lady is missing her adopted daughter's wedding. To hell with that. There are medical emergencies.
Yes.
There are people who are spending a fortune. And let me tell you, there is no bloody accountability. I'm sorry for using this word bloody, but this is what they have. They have blood on their hands. And no one is taking them to account.
Okay.
The media, at least you guys are running programs. Where is the accountability? The DGCA has told these people, okay, we will relax your rules of FTL till February. Where is the penalty? If I were the civil aviation minister, I'd have penalized Indigo 3,000 crores. From that, I would have given Meenakshi and all her ilk compensation. Do you know something, Shivani? Normally, airlines, suppose I'm on a British Airways thing, and you've got the aviation expert there. Suppose I'm on a British Airways flight. It is British Airways' responsibility to rebook me on another carrier. These chaps don't even try for another carrier. Obviously, carriers will be full. I can understand that. But there is no customer centricity. There is no care for the customer. It's almost as if we don't give a damn whether you die or whether you fly.
Okay, 1 second.
What kind of rubbish is this?
No, Sohail, you talked about the penalty, and I think that's an important point. Whether that comes immediately right now or whether the DGCA and the ministry work with Indigo to first sort out this situation, I think we can, we can debate that, because the penalty is not really anybody's priority right now. The priority is to get the airline up and running, at least to some 70-80% of its operation, so that this pain can be eased right now. I've got another passenger with me. Alex George is at the Chennai airport. Yes, Alex, what's the situation with you?
Ma'am, the situation has been same since the last 3 days. So I've been trying to go to Delhi from Chennai. And since the last 2 days, my flight has been booked and they are cancelling the flight at the last moment when we are about to check in.
So you're in a way stranded where you can't fly with Indigo, but you also can't take the call of cancelling that flight and, booking something else.
Yeah, they are just rescheduling the flight to the next day. And today what happened is that today the same thing happened. So I just booked a flight with Air India. And like you can't even tell, the prices are so high. Like I booked the ticket for around 30K just to fly from Chennai to Delhi.
How much money have you lost, Alex, in all of this?
I around, but like it's around 50K or something like that.
Yeah. Anand wanted to come in. Yes, go ahead.
Shivani, look, this is an absolute catastrophe that has happened, that has unfolded right in front of us. Accountability has to be fixed. But more than that, there are 3 points I'd like to make. This is, giving credence to that often cliched phrase, fly-by-night operators. I mean, the CEO, where is he? Peter Elbers. First of all, he has to have resigned days ago. He is missing in action. Now, the fact of the matter is that this is because of a High Court order that was given more than 6 months ago.
Why are they not prepared about it?
The different phases kicked in, and it's not just that Indigo were caught unawares. First of all, Rahul Gandhi is yet again wrong. It's not a monopoly. It's not even a duopoly. Monopoly was when, his dynasty accolades were running the country. You had only Indian Airlines or Air India. Right now, Indigo has 60% share. 30% is Air India. Akasa Air is 5%. And the rest is 5%. You don't call that monopoly. You don't even call that duopoly. But the fact of the matter is, because you have a government regulator that cannot itself fix accountability on its own, we saw what happened during the air crash. Of course, they might be in cahoots with Indigo. Now, Indigo every year makes a revenue of 80,000 crores. It makes a profit of 8,000 crores. It has 5,000 pilots. The cost to the company of those pilots is 2,500 crores. Now, with the new policy being kicked in by FDTL, it would have required 65 more pilots, that's all.
No, this is
It
a
still
very
hasn't
good.
managed it.
Exactly, but I'm getting a very big breaking update exactly on what could be the underlying factor. Although the responsibility of the airline is to be pinpointed, the DGCA has now withdrawn the rule that barred airlines from substituting weekly rest with leave. The move comes amidst this major operational disruption and airline requests for flexibility. Airlines can now use leave in place of weekly rest to stabilize crew rosters. The DGCA says withdrawal is effective immediately. So, of course, there is a firefighting operation going on. Devesh is the aviation expert here. Devesh, how do you read this? This is a massive rollback of sorts by the government?
Hi, Shivani. Thanks for having me. Basically, the airlines didn't want FDTL. This is a great way to get it withdrawn. Okay, Anand and Suhail, they said it very correctly. Sorry, am I visible? I don't know if I'm audible.
Yeah, you're audible. Go ahead.
Okay, sorry. So, basically, the airlines didn't want it. Indigo has just been the tip of the spear. All the airlines did not want it. The other airlines were prepared. Indigo has used its market muscle, so to speak, and put it. Every season, if you are aware, we have this concept of a winter schedule and a summer schedule. These schedules are supposed to be shared with the ministry and approval is taken. This is done by the DGCA. For the last 5 years, there's another airline I will not name whose schedule was approved based on them having X number of aircraft when everybody in the industry knew that they had only half the fleet. Yet
Okay.
their schedule was approved. So constantly you would see that airlines flights being cancelled. In fact, they even took out a comedian, took out an ad. But
No,
let me-
Devesh, I'm going to come back to you. Just hold on your thought. I just want to go across to my colleague Payal Mehta, who's joining us on this massive rollback of sorts that has been taken by the aviation watchdog. Payal, tell us more.
And what we are given to understand that the DGCA has currently put that order into abeyance. It's
Okay.
not been withdrawn, it's not been cancelled, it's been put into abeyance to give Indigo some time because, Indigo has been the culprit at this end, not having done the recruitment drive that they should have done over the last few months. In contrast to which, Air India had already run their recruitment drives and Air India had surplus pilots already available. Anyways, to mitigate the situation, this release is going to be of great importance as far as the passenger concern, passenger relief is really concerned, and that is something which is being done. We are also given to understand the Civil Aviation Minister, Mr. Ram Mohan Naidu, has already briefed the Union Home Minister about the developments as well. After which the DGCA has announced that this has to be done with immediate effect.
Okay.
Because lakhs and lakhs of passengers, Shivani, were impacted over the last few days, and many flights to cancel. In fact, Indigo has not even informed people whether the flights were being cancelled or not.
Yes,
There was no update
absolutely.
being given.
Payal, stay with me. We have the copy of this order that has now been issued. This is order issued on 4th. But let me just go across to the title. The subject says withdrawal of instructions regarding published weekly rest. So the letter at least certainly seems to suggest that this is a withdrawal of what has been issued in the past, whereas reference is invited to the above mentioned letter. No leave shall be substituted for weekly rest. In view of the ongoing operational disruptions and representations received from various airlines regarding the need to ensure continuity and stability of operation, it has been considered necessary to review the said provision. Now, therefore, the instruction contained in the reference paragraph that no leave shall be substituted for weekly rest is hereby withdrawn with immediate effect. This issues with the approval of the competent authority. So, the letter certainly suggesting that this rule has been withdrawn. This is coming under severe pressure, but this is also retrospective. This should have been thought about or discussed earlier. If this was going to be such a massive issue, it should not be taking place like this. Yes, there can be a review, but it should be happening in a better way, not 3 days after this chaos has ensued. My colleague Anvit is joining us. So Anvit, just explain why this was necessary now, and also what is this particular issue of no leave shall be substituted for weekly off. Why has this created such chaos?
See, Shivani, when FDTL came in, DGCA had relaxed rest period for the pilots, and they had increased it from 36 hours to 48 hours. Now in this period, the weekly offs were not to be counted, and in fact previously DGCA had given this instruction that weekly offs must not be counted as the rest that is given, so that the leaves that the pilots take shall not be counted as weekly offs. But now owing to the shortage of the crew and owing to the chaos that has been there for the last 3 days, DGCA has withdrawn this, the ministry has withdrawn this instruction of theirs, and they have said that now for now the exemption has been given, but it has been withdrawn. So also later on when they want to implement it, there will have to be another order that will clearly chart out whether weekly offs can be mixed with leaves. If the leaves are taken, can that be counted as weekly offs or not? Because the resting period was increased drastically from 36 hours a week to 48 hours. Also we are learning that the night landings that had been restricted from 6 to 8, we are learning that probably there will also be shortly an exemption of in that also the airline, the Indigo for now will be given an exemption. We are learning, however the order is still awaited, but we are learning that an exemption on the night landing also. Previously it was 6, Indigo had been asking for to keep it 6, but the DGCA, the new norms had said only 2 landings, night landings can be allowed. We are learning that a development can also happen on that phase, and that also exemption may be given to back to the 6 landings. So these changes are being made, but see, if we look at the picture entirely, too late to take these decisions. When the order came, there was ample time. These orders had initially come on January 2024. The FDTL had come in, and since then the airlines had 2 years of time. Eventually, the pilots body also went to the court, against DGCA, saying that why were airlines being given more time, but then DGCA came on board and said that no, we are implementing in just 2 months, and July 1 starting, and then from November 1 in phases this will be implemented. So then the order was stayed, but see the chaos that it has caused and the re-rostering scheduling problems that Indigo has gone through, it has left passengers in utter chaos and across airports, and thousands of passengers in the last 3 days have been stranded. Many of them could not make it to very important meetings and very important gatherings as well.
To be honest, yes, some are life and death situations, but everybody's particular situation is going to be important to them. And, many lakhs of passengers have suffered. Before I bring in Devesh, yes, Anand, you've been wanting to come in.
No, I mean, this is just unbelievable. What more proof, Shivani, do you need that we are a banana republic? Just 5 minutes ago, I demanded the resignation of the CEO of Indigo for dereliction of duty. Now, may I please demand the resignation of the civil aviation's minister? It's a joke out here. There's a High Court order. The pilot unions went to the High Court demanding the weekly leave. The High Court granted it. It was an order that was... On what basis has the DGCA gone and said that this is in abeyance right now? It is in fact, you know why I'm asking for the resignation? Because right now they are playing with the safety of passengers. If you do not give the pilots adequate rest, which is what the High Court wanted, aren't you playing with the safety of the passengers?
But the airlines weren't able to execute it.
Well, then they have to pay 2 or 3 times the compensation. How were they not? Is this the problem only with Indigo? I gave you the data.
Could there have been a longer period during which this order could have been executed, a longer phase?
It was already decided by the High Court. The instructions were given. July was the first phase. Second phase kicked in on 1st November. Now for 30 days, there was no issue at all. It's a question of 65 extra pilots that Indigo, with a profit of 8,000 crore, revenue of 80,000 crore, can't manage.
No, I'm not justifying the Indigo situation, but I'm also trying to understand, if airlines in India were prepared for something like this, or should we do it in a way that they are more prepared, and we can ensure that they are prepared for it before it is executed. So Devesh, I want to understand from you, first of all, the parallel to something like this, these rules that the DGCA on the back of a court order tried to implement, and why was this not possible for Indigo? What is the problem here?
It's very simple. Senior management. If you look at the photograph released by the ministry yesterday, none of the C-suite has attended the meeting. I agree with Anand. Where is the CEO sitting? Where is Mr. Albers? Where is Mr. Rahul Bhatia? This is a crisis of unimaginable proportions, and the topmost management of the airline is missing.
No, explain this rule to me. Explain this rule for the benefit of our viewers. What is this rule exactly? Why did it come into being? What are global parallels to a rule like this?
Ma'am, there is a prescribed fatigue management system which is practiced in most of the West, Europe, etc. India for many years used to, how do I use the word, literally treat pilots as slave labor. Even today, pilots are required to give a 6-month notice period before leaving an airline. Okay, so the airlines have been, the only word I can use is colluding. I agree with Anand. Our DGCA is an ineffective body. Our current Director General was the former coal secretary. Come on, there's no technical people there. They
Let's
need
not
to have.
pussyfoot. Sack
Yeah,
the goddamn DGCA head.
yeah, but
Take
Suhail,
his
just to
bloody
let you
head
know,
and
no,
put it on a
listen,
scalpel.
Suhail, you had said something about British Airways. In 2021, British Airways left me stranded at the airport. I was a business class Emerald Elite passenger and they just told me buzz off. No compensation, no nothing. I was stranded in Chicago.
Well, I wish I could apologize for them, but I'm not going to because
No,
I don't know
as I
about your
said, I
personal
exercised,
incident, but let me tell you
I
one thing.
exercised.
No, 1 minute, 1 minute. We are
No, please,
discussing something
Suhail,
of
no, listen.
gravitas here. 1 minute.
Please let me
The problem
complete my
is
point.
the
No, either you
DGCA
let me
is.
One by. Sohail, I'm coming to you next. Let him finish his point. Yes, Devesh.
So my point is that there is a
I want to
prescribed
respond to
flight
that.
duty
We are
time limit
discussing a
because
serious
pilots
national
require to
matter.
have, a lot of situational awareness to fly the aircraft
Okay,
safely.
okay, fair
It
enough.
is the choice of Indigo senior management not to hire because other airlines have prepared for it, and today they
Exactly.
are
So
not facing a
that's
problem.
really the bottom line
That is
here,
the
that the
issue, yeah.
airline
Yes, ma'am.
completely. Yes, Sohail.
Into the
Yes.
Mahabharat. 1 minute. Let's not be like Bernard Shaw where the preface is longer than the play. There are only 4 issues here. Number one, who is going to be held responsible for this mess? And if that person is identified, which is very clear, that person should be sacked, removed, and put to trial. Number two, there must be a fiscal penalty. Look, all these jokers only understand money. When you pinch their wallets, they understand the seriousness. Number three, every passenger must be compensated immediately because the compensation cannot be only linked to Meenakshi's one-way travel. Suppose she's traveling on another carrier. That carrier won't care whether Indigo cancels
Exactly.
the flight or not. What are you going to do about it?
Yes.
Number four, the Peter Ibers and all these jokers must be held to account, including Rahul Bhatia. You want to make shitloads of money. You want homes everywhere in the world. And you run your airline into the ground even after intimation from the High Court. What kind of a joke is this?
Okay.
And who is
okay.
responsible?
Hold on, Sohail. I have another passenger with me. Meenakshi is also with us. Meenakshi must have heard the breaking news that we are giving, and I'll take her thoughts on that. But Manuraj Gupta is a passenger stranded at the Mumbai airport. Manuraj, describe to us your situation. What all happened?
So I had a flight from Mumbai to Bhopal today afternoon,
Okay.
around 3 p.m. and it was cancelled today morning without any proper clear communication. So I was just informed that the flight has been cancelled and there was no clear mention of which PNR or which flight exactly. And I was just intimated that I would get a refund. So first of all, there has been a lot of inconsistent communication from and miscommunication from Indigo regarding the flight status, and we have not been able to know like which. So I had a flight tomorrow as well to Delhi, and there has been no communication that which flight was cancelled, whether it's the one that was cancelled for today or tomorrow. And I think there has been no alternate provided as well, so people are left stranded at the airport and have been facing a lot of trouble.
So, Manuraj, can I understand from you, why did you decide to come to the airport?
So I wanted, there was no clarity regarding the flight status. So I was living close to the airport, and so I decided to check the flight status and probably also find an alternate flight from the desk here.
Okay,
So that is the reason I came here, because online there was a lot of the fares have gone really high, 4 to 5 times the usual, and so it's not possible to book online.
I understand. So, these are the my right situations in which the passengers are finding themselves. Everybody's situation is tricky at some level. But Meenakshi, can I get your response on the fact that the order which possibly caused all of this chaos, not taking away from the airline's own responsibility, has now been withdrawn? Knee-jerk reaction?
But what about the safety of the passengers? What the gentleman just said. About that.
Kargil war and of course the IC-814 hijacking and also of course we had we had sanctions from the West side at that time after Pokhran 2 nuclear test. Similarly, this time around we have extra tariff from the United States side. So there are similarity in that 2000 visit of Putin and when he's visiting in 2025.
Okay, in fact, it was in 2000 that the first India-Russia annual summit got instituted. Putin is now here in India for the 23rd edition of the India-Russia Annual Summit. I also want to go across to Akanksha Swaroop, who's there at the Bharat Mandapam. Later this afternoon, both the President and the Prime Minister will be convening the India-Russia CEOs Roundtable, the Business Forum. And as I outlined a moment ago, one of the things that they want to expand is on trade and cooperation, on expanding the breadth of the trade relationship. Right now, a lot of it is Russian gas and oil, and the trade deficit, like I outlined a moment ago, is the second highest that India has with any country after China. How do they plan to go about it?
Right. So very interestingly, we are at the Bharat Mandapam where the CEO roundtable will be happening. And yesterday was the India-Russia Business Forum. Interestingly, Zaka, the Commerce Minister, Mr. Piyush Goyal, was very quick in pointing out that the trade has been flourishing between India and Russia. Nonetheless, it remains skewed and that trade basket has to be diversified. So even though India happens to be one of the largest buyers of Russian defense, also was one of the largest buyers of Russian oil, and that of course has been going down. So it is now going to shift focus over to trade. What is that going to encompass? You're looking at pharmaceuticals, you're looking at fertilizers, agricultural products. Both the sides are looking towards working down, say, the tariff barriers. The Commerce Minister also highlighted that compliance, tariff, and there was a lot of red tapeism involved, which the Modi government has sort of worked towards to reduce, and that will also give a headway in sort of strengthening and deepening this partnership. All of the Russian delegation currently is comprising of, say, corporate honchos from these sectors, which I just enlisted, many of them also belonging to the energy sector, many of them belonging to big machinery sectors as well. The other aspect that we are looking towards is increasing labor mobility. Remember, Russia has lost out close to 1 million Russians on the front line alone, and there is a massive labor shortage. India is looking towards replenishing that shortage by providing Indian labor. At the same time, nuclear cooperation is going to be another major area of sort of concern and cooperation. But it would be interesting to see how we take this entire bilateral trade partnership forward. We've been talking to, say, FICCI also, members of FICCI. They've all been talking about how this particular forum is only going to help us take this forward.
Okay, we'll be back in touch with our reporters through the course of the morning. It's going to be a busy and heavy morning for our reporters as well, so I hope you've got your fuel for the day. We're getting a piece of breaking news, and this is an important one. One of the areas that they want to expand on, and you will get an announcement of this later in the afternoon, is around small modular reactors. Russia's state-run nuclear corporation, Rosatom, has now announced that it has delivered the first consignment of nuclear fuel for the initial loading of Unit 3 at the Kudankulam nuclear power plant in Tamil Nadu. The fuel delivery marks a key milestone in the ongoing construction and commissioning of the plant's next reactor unit. There are 6 units that the Russian side was supposed to build. 2 of them are operational now. This is the nuclear fuel that's been now confirmed. For the 3rd unit, there are now units 4, 5 and 6 that need to be commissioned as well. So this is something that you will hear about when those intergovernmental agreements are signed later this afternoon. Here in our studios, Lieutenant General D.P. Pandey, security analyst, is there. We have Abhijit Iyer Mitra, senior fellow from the Institute for Peace and Conflict Studies, and Anand Raghunathan, professor and familiar face here on CNN News 18. Welcome, gentlemen. General Pandey, what is at stake as you see it, as President Putin and Prime Minister Modi begin the 23rd annual India-Russia summit at a time when there seems to be this geopolitical rebalancing going on?
Yeah, I think firstly, a lot of people are putting focus on defense deal and trade facet, how to overcome, bridge the gap of trade gap and all, but I look at it in this whole shifting of geopolitics in not only in the region, but more importantly in the world stage. I think a multipolarity is now getting established by this visit of the 10th visit of Putin in since the time he has been in the power. I think it's very, very important and significant. And I think for both, not only for Putin, a lot of people are saying it's important for Putin to showcase to his own population, his own people and to the world that he is not isolated in this whole context, which is war which is happening with Ukraine, while Europeans and the Americans may be getting after him by sanctioning and all. But yet he has got places to visit. He's already been visiting in last couple of months. He's been out of his country and visited a number of states, and therefore I think it's very important for him domestically, but I think it's also very important for us. While we may not talk of it more often, that there is a leverage. We are an emerging power. If you look at this articles coming out by diplomats against the visit of Putin in our country and the discussion which is happening, why is he visiting our country, puts India back into the focus. So while number of people may feel that it is not so good, but I look at it that it's very important that India's relevance is being recognized in the world. And then my view is that this is a very great opportunity for Prime Minister Modi to come out slightly more higher when he may talk and make a mention about Ukraine-Russia war, away from the symbolism of sanctions and tariff and stuff like that, which has been tried to be imposed by the West on the rest of the world, actually, whosoever is taking energy connect from Russia. I think the moment he makes a statement on Ukraine-Russia war, because